You just bought Planet Coaster. Well, you did a great thing. So first of all, welcome to the family. And second of all, I have a couple of things to tell you before you access this game. I am more than happy to see so many people joining the crew of Planet Coaster Gamers. But let me tell you, from experience of over 6.5, 8 years, 7, 8 years, I don't even know how long, 2016, April it was to be precise, when I started my journey in Planet Coaster. You can see one of my earlier parks here on screen, but you will also later on see some other stuff I've done in the past. However, there is so much I learned in all this time that I want to share with you. So first things first, this game is absolutely still standing very good in these times, despite some maybe graphical issues or graphical shortcomings, especially when it comes to modern technology. However, you can still do everything in this game, and this is basically already the first thing I want to talk about. This game is maybe one of the most customizable games out there, so don't feel overwhelmed. There are tremendous and mega cool tutorials out there. Not only from me, you will be able to see a bajillion tutorials I have made, but also other creators have made absolutely great tutorials that I highly recommend to follow on, because this game is maybe not the best in getting you welcomed, especially when it comes to building and piece by piece building with also coasters. Speaking of which, the coaster builder in this game is maybe not the best coaster builder out there, but it is still a very strong point of the game. And obviously this game is called Planet Coaster, so you better have some decent coasters in the game, and you have. There is a vast choice of different types of coasters in this game, and it's kind of a good solid builder with which you can achieve most of the things. But the same thing applies. Make sure to check out some very good tutorials, but make sure to not watch mine, because I'm not the greatest tutorial maker for coasters. But there are some other players just like Sylph, or also you can check out some of the other people, Chacho and also Moomin Little Socks, who've been being very active lately too, and they have some very great videos when it comes for building realistic coasters in this wonderful game. One thing I also want to highlight is the absurdly great sound design in this game. Now, if you have the chance, keep an eye, or basically your ears, on the sound design of Planet Coaster. Not only the music is fantastic, but also the effects and the sounds in the park. I think it's one of the best games when it comes to atmosphere, and even I did the mistake that I didn't really spend enough time enjoying what this game brings to the table. I also highly recommend to make sure to really look at the details of the rides and everything that has been brought to the table or to your theme park, because there is so much little detail in this game. Also, keep an eye on your guests, how they interact with each other, specifically the guests themselves with kids and other people. Very lovely stuff to see. There are so many little Easter eggs hidden in this game that I don't want to spoil in this video. I don't want to talk about too much. I want to more talk about this game as in a general performance, because this is maybe something you have to consider when you play this game. This is a game, as I said at the beginning, which is over 8 years old, and you should not expect it to be absolutely crazy. Even I, on a very decent rig, have issues when the park is semi-filled in. I have some big parks that you can find on this channel that are beyond the point where you should actively play the game. I would recommend to never go below 20-ish FPS when you build, because that will get you to severe issues when it comes to performance. But also, and this is something I haven't noticed until recently, once you go below a certain point of FPS, you may actually get some issues with your coasters, because the friction model and so on isn't reacting accordingly. So that means some of your coasters will potentially not work anymore. At least this is my experience, but you should consider doing this. However, this should not stop you from achieving great stuff in this game. Basically, everything is customizable in this game, and you should basically try out everything yourself, because there is so many little things. You can design stations yourself, you can build stations around, you can make launches, as you can see in front of you, custom launches, making sure all of your coasters look properly decent. But one thing I want to highlight really quickly is there are some very cool options in the menu that you definitely should try out when you are first actively going into the game, and it depends a little on what type of player they are. But you know, without actually looking at the screen and doing some other stuff, why am I not just quickly showing this to you? So in the menu, you will actually have the chance to disable certain collision options. These collision options will actually allow you to move pieces inside of a coaster train, or actually inside of the terrain and so on. This is super helpful if you want to get close to your coaster and align something as for example, you want to do a custom support. You can do this by actually saying disable the scenery collision, disable the coaster collision, ride collision, and so on and so forth. But I'm going to show you exactly what I mean by that. So, to be precise, if I want to go to scenery and replicate what I've just done in front of me here to put a rock, for example, in this ride, you will see now that with the settings I have chosen, I'm not able to put them anywhere. As you can see over here, the game just shows that red outline. However, if I go to the menu and I'm gonna say all the disabled scenery collision, put that disable option on again, then I say apply, and you will see now once I got to the scenery options, I can basically put the stone anywhere I want. This comes in very handy if you want to create your own scenery items around rides and so on, and you are not worried about having these things actually intersect with all the things. You can always be very careful and cautious to not make sure, or to actually make sure that this ride is not going to collide with the items you set down, but this will allow you to make some cool stuff. Also, did you know that you can share blueprints in this game? You can see this wonderful T-Rex in front of me, which I actually built piece by piece just to show you. This contained 2,377 pieces, which I want to share now with the world. I can now say save as blueprint, and after a little while you'll be greeted with a blueprint overlay, and that's going to allow you to share this blueprint with the world. There you go. And as you can see, I have a tremendous amount of blueprints already on my Steam page. If you want to grab some of those, you are very welcome. But now let's go and say a new blueprint, and once we are here, you can just take a photo of it, name your blueprint. I'm gonna name this lovely little Rexy, and I'm gonna say this is a wooden Rexy, and I'm gonna set a tag to, yeah, what actually is this? Let's say this is obviously a statue. And then we're going to say create blueprint, and it's done. Once you go then to your blueprints tab, as you can see over here, opening the menu for me takes a little while because I'm recording at the moment, so don't you worry too much if that is an issue for you. It shouldn't. Now, if I'm going to say Rexy, you will see I have already done this in the past, which was called Rudy's Wooden T-Rex, but this is the one we just created, and you can just grab it and put it right next to you. You can actually move it. By the way, speaking about move it, if you haven't found that out yourself, when you have an object to your cursor and you press down the X key, you will be greeted with a gizmo. I'm not going to go too deep into that because I have actually made a full tutorial on this, but this will allow you to move things more precisely. But again, there are so many tutorials out there. I'm going to place this down, boom, you're done. Just as a little info, this game allows you to create blueprints up to 4,000 pieces each. As soon as you surpass 4,000 pieces, you will not be able to do this. Just to show you, if I would be to bring these two things into one group, which I can't actually do, as you can see, there you go, you've got message. More than 4,000 pieces are unfortunately not allowed to create a blueprint of, but 4,000 pieces is quite something. So I'm gonna looking forward to seeing your creations. A vital part of a coaster game, as said earlier, is obviously the coaster builder, and despite I'm not going to give you a full tutorial on coasters, there is one thing I wish I've known about much earlier, and this is friction. Now, friction is a force that keeps your coaster getting slower over the time of the course of the track, because obviously there are some forces involved of the coaster having this force going over the track and slowing down realistically, and sometimes this will lead into a coaster not making the layout. Now, people have claimed over time that maybe the friction model in this game is not perfect, and so Frontier has decided to give us an option to enable just that. So if you go to your menu, there is an option in the game menu which is called the coaster friction controls. If you enable this, you will be finding a new option in your settings tab of your coaster. As you can see, there is a coaster friction multiplier, and at the moment I've got it on 1, which is the default. I'm gonna bring it all the way down to 0.3 now, and then we will check out what the coaster is going to do right now. If you want to speed up the game quickly to get it to the point where you want it to, you can press O twice on your keyboard, and then you'll have the game speed up. Press O once again and you're back to normal speed. Now let's have a look if the coaster will make the layout right now. following the coaster through. You've seen I've not changed a single thing when it comes to most of the things, but now you can see it almost magically makes it through the layout. And if we follow it through, you'll see that there's barely any slowing involved into the coaster. It almost glides over the coaster track as if there is no gravity involved whatsoever. This is basically what the coaster friction multiplier does. It takes away the effect of gravity and heat and stuff like that that is normally involved in coasters. If you use that, you can, for example, build some really cool coasters on the moon or so if you want to, but for building realistic coasters, I recommend not going lower than 0.5 or 6, because otherwise you're greeted with a way too fast coaster at the end of the day. But for this specific one over here, I think it just does wonders and makes the whole coaster feel a lot more smooth and a lot more nice. So yeah, that's a very good tip to consider. So in short, make sure to benefit from all the experience of players around the world that have played this game for almost a decade. What can you expect from this game? Well, obviously, you have purchased the absolute best theme park builder that you can buy for money right now. And fun fact, you bought it potentially at the moment for under €2, which leaves you with a lot of money to get some of the DLCs of this game, because they are equally great. Almost every single DLC of this game is absolutely worth your money, and there is so much that comes to the game. However, considering the fact you have to get into the game, you are very well equipped with what the base game already brings to the table. You can see, again, one of my earliest builds I've done, that is called Camel Kingdom, one of my most Disney-inspired park. However, this has been built with actually quite a lot of the base game features and base game items, so you can see what you can even achieve with that. But I am now here to wish you guys a very pleasant experience. You cannot imagine how pleased and happy and wholeheartedly, just genuinely super happy I feel to see so many players play this wonderful game again, and hoping to all enjoy in the future a successor of this wonderful game that has actually taken the Roller Coaster Tycoon legacy and brought it to a new level. Because we all know what happened with the original Roller Coaster Tycoon legacy. Let's not talk too much about this. So yeah, also there's so much in this game you want to explore yourself, and if not, and if you want to basically get something else, make sure to check out all the wonderful YouTube channels out there to get help before you stay frustrated with the game, because this has a brilliant longevity, which I can tell you because I've spent over 2,500 hours playing this game. I've basically tried to do everything I can, and now it's up to you to do that. And there's also maybe something I'm doing in the shady background to bring you something of this game in the future weeks or in the coming weeks, so keep your eye on the channel. But now hopefully these couple of tricks were helpful to you, and you'll find a lot more helpful stuff on my channel or on other people's channel. Now enjoy this wonderful game. You've made an absolute stealer and a killer deal there getting this game right now, so keep on playing, enjoy the ride, and I talk to you in the next one.